Welcome to Explain to Shane. I'm your host, Shane Tews at the American Enterprise Institute. On this podcast, I interview tech industry experts to explain how the apps, services, and structures of today's information technology system work and how they shape our social and economic life. Although more young people are becoming active in political movements, civics education is surprisingly absent from the core curriculum of many American high schools and universities. Still, learning how and why the Founding Fathers created the underpinning of our democracy is crucial to understanding why the American political system and our government is unique. As social media platforms continue to take politics online, how can you use technology to educate young people in the United States on the founding principles? With so many students learning from home, I find online platforms that can help augment students' curriculums with important topics like civics education about how our government functions, a very important use of technology tools. On this episode, I talk with three guests from Constituting America, a foundation that seeks to educate America's youth on the U.S. Constitution and its enduring importance to politics. I'm pleased to welcome Constituting America's founder, Janine Turner, and co-president Cathy Gillespie, along with the foundation's youth director, Tova Kaplan, a Chicago high school student and three-time winner of Constituting America's We the Future competition. We discuss Constituting America's mission, educational programs, and upcoming Constitution Day celebration on this special edition of Explain to Shane. Janine, I know this is your brainchild as you are the founder and the co-chair of Constituting America. Can you walk us through how the organization got started and what your goals are?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to be on your show today. Great show. Well, in third grade, my father was a graduate of West Point Military Academy, the United States Military Academy at West Point. I've always been told I'm supposed to say it in its entirety, but he's a West Pointer. And he was pretty quiet, but back then it was Air Force Army. And in third grade, I had this distinct memory of looking up at my father and saying, Dad, if our founding fathers were to come back today, what would they be most disappointed about? So this has sort of always been a love of mine. And what is it? Ancestry.com traces our lineage back supposedly to George Washington's grandfather. So maybe I have George Washington or John Adams or Abigail Adams as an angel on my shoulder, but I've always had a fascination with our country and our founding documents. And I'm sure my dad's patriotism, he was one of the first to fly twice the speed of sound in the 1960s, was part of the Strategic Air Command, because back then West Point was Army or Air Force. And then I had a wonderful fifth grade teacher, and it's Mr. Ingram. And Mr. Ingram it was his first year teaching. It was a little country school, and cows were in the playground. And he decided that we would all rehearse for the entire year to learn about the founding documents, the musical 1776, and that we would perform it in the springtime for our parents. And that was a beautiful, amazing way. It left the biggest imprint in my mind. So the arts were used to sort of create a lasting impression about why the founding documents work, sort of like the movie about the spelling bee where the girl would skip rope at the same time and sing a song to remember the words. There's just something about doing something artistic with what you learn. And I remember being in the grocery store, and Cathy and I had met earlier. Cathy can tell you about that, but it was W stands for Women. Cathy was the chair of that, and I was offering my talents to be of service in any sort of way, singing or presenting for the Bush campaign. And we had met and we had become fast friends. And so I called her and said, Cathy, we need to start an organization to teach kids about why the founding documents are important, because it's getting lost and nobody knows. And the smartest thing I ever did was call Cathy Gillespie to ask her to be a co-president with me, because Cathy is a powerhouse and we're just sort of a right wing and a left wing that flies, to get off the ground here. We've been doing it ever since. The goal is to impact the culture, because if we can't impact the culture, it's really a bit of a losing endeavor. What are kids doing? They're watching Netflix, they're watching their phones, they're listening to music. And unfortunately, the majority of that, since I'm an actress, I know, is liberal. And our goal then at the very beginning in 2010 was we want to have, songs written by our winning students for our contest. And we want them to air on the radio. So people are tapping their feet to this great song, whether it's rock or pop or country, and they're subliminally learning about religious freedom or the Bill of Rights or the First Amendment. And we want to do the same thing with the kids' works and public service announcements. They actually create them for the contest. And when they win, we hire companies both to promote their songs and to put their PSAs on television. And our statistics are in the millions of plays. So we really wanted to affect the culture. We also have a speaking initiative, which is very, very important. And in this speaking initiative, I go into the schools, primarily me. Cathy doesn't sometimes, but I do about 90% of them, I'd say, 80%. And it's to make the Constitution applicable to the kids. So I use a Socratic method where we just chat and talk. But the key element of that is to meet them where they are. And I ask them what they would like to change in the government or change in their neighborhood. If they can't think, if they're too young, about what they would like to change about the government. And I teach them how to write a petition and to use their First Amendment rights. We actually walk through the whole thing, write the petition, use their speech, call the press, just plan the peaceful assembly, and then call their representative. So it's a fabulous, wonderful passion of mine to work with these students. So that's just a touch. That's just like we're multi-tiered. We have other programs, but I think I should stop talking.
Well, I now want to know, were you Abigail Adams? Because there's not a lot of women in 1776. I love it, but she's the only one I can think of.
I was Martha Jefferson.
Okay. I'm with you, but 1776 is a personal favorite. And then, of course, I had Hamilmania, and I still do. I can sing all the songs. But I mean, your point is exactly, for those of us who grew up in the era of Schoolhouse Rock, we learned a lot of things because we could sing them.
Mm-hmm.
Very good point. So, Cathy, tell us about you being the other wing of this process here.
Well, first of all, I just want to say Janine is the heart and soul of Constituting America, and she brings her vision to life every day through her creativity and conviction and business sense. We just got off a call where we were going over a lot of things for the coming week, and I have the best job in the world because I get to work with Janine Turner, and she's my best friend, and we have a lot of fun together. So, as Janine mentioned, we're multi-tiered, and we have got a lot of programs. And she talked about the school speaking program, which is so important. We also reach the kids through a contest, and our contest deadline is coming up on September 17th, but it's not too late for kids to enter because so many of our winners tell me that, I didn't even start my entry until the day the contest was due, and I submitted it at midnight for September 17th. So even if kids have procrastinated, go on our website at constitutingamerica.org. And then if they don't get it in this year, we accept entries all year long, so they can put their entry in after September 17th, and it will be considered in the next round. I don't want to say too much more as well because I know we've got Tova on this call, and Tova could speak so much to some of the different things we do. But one of the things that we have started this year is our Constitutional Chats program, and Tova is one of our student hosts and does just an amazing job. We have a Constitution Day live program that we have coming up on September 17th. It's going to be 5 hours of our student contest winners holding, basically moderated by Janine and me, with Tova on and our other student ambassador, Dakari, facilitating workshops in all of the different contest areas of our contest and teaching students so many things about the Constitution. Janine's going to teach a session on students' First Amendment rights and how they use those rights as tools in their toolbox to affect change. So we just have a lot of exciting things coming up.
That's fantastic. I felt very fortunate to be a guest on Constituting America this summer, and I was really impressed with the mission of your group. And I started following your program. I was saying to Tova earlier that she definitely had done her homework on some of the articles that you guys were going through, and what they specifically meant about that section of the Constitution. As someone who's been working in policy development and specifically technology policy for many years, I really find a strong understanding of civics is really the key first step to creating good policy. So, Tova, you're a 3-time winner of the Constituting America We the Future competition in STEM and a PSA and entrepreneurial categories. Those are all really kind of amazing things. So tell us how you've been using social media to promote civic awareness, and walk us through this really cool app that you're developing.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I started off with applying in 8th grade all the way back then for the entrepreneurial category, where I came up with a marketing plan on how we can promote the Constitution to young people. And even back then, I knew that one way that we could do that is through social media and taking the Constitution and constitutional information and transmitting it through the different avenues that young people are engaged in. So I didn't even have social media at that time, but I knew that it was important for young people to learn about it through there. And then I also created a PSA the second year. As we know, young people have shorter attention spans. So I created a short, and snappy PSA to talk about why the Constitution is relevant for young people and what freedoms we enjoy every day that we might not realize that we wouldn't have without the Constitution. And then, this year I created an app for Constituting America as a way to take the Constitution and make it engaging and technologically savvy so young people can feel like it's very relevant to them and not just an old piece of parchment paper. And again, Constituting America really generously took this app and allowed me to develop it with the help of professionals. And we're going to be putting it out on all the stores soon. And it's just so amazing. I never thought I would be able to develop an app, but Constituting America is such a great organization that genuinely invests in young people. They don't just say they do. They actually put their money where their mouth is and help you, invest in you, provide guidance and mentorship, and help achieve your goals. So I'm really excited for that project and development.
That's fantastic. Now that you have spent so much time learning the Constitution, do you have a favorite part?
Well, I think this is a basic answer, but I love the First Amendment. That is, I think, just so central to who we are as a country and why our country has been able to prosper so much. I just always really connected to it. At Constituting America, we really emphasize that amendment a lot because I think that amendment, more than any other, gives citizens a voice in the government that other countries don't have. So, we know the famous parts of the First Amendment, freedom of speech, religion, etc. People don't know that freedom of assembly, freedom of petition, that's what really makes our republic run, because those are the avenues that citizens can, if they see something wrong in their country, they can reach out to their government, they can peacefully protest to change things, they can have a voice. And we don't realize how privileged we are as Americans to be able to have that right. I also, of course, love being able to say what I want. I'm talkative and have strong opinions about things. And it's amazing that the Constitution protects us from the government so we can freely express ourselves and don't have to hide our opinions. Also, as a Jewish American, freedom of religion is very important to me. Obviously, it's very, very rare a country gives full religious freedom, not only on paper, but in practice as well. And so, that has been a really great thing for my family and the reason why we came to America and the reason why I continue to love it so much.
All good reasons. And it makes me just want to go back and reread it. It's the thought that came into these documents after, a group of people spent a lot of time together. They really, not that much of it has been changed. It's really impressive. And I'm really excited about the app. As soon as it comes out, I'm looking forward to downloading it and seeing all this great work that you've done.
Thank you so much. I'm excited as well.
So how do you recommend that people engage in this process? You obviously have some things coming up next week, but this is a program that continues on, and especially we have so many kids at home doing school from computers. How do we find you? Tell us what the programs are that kids can get into. I know besides the competition you have, is it a 90-day learning session? Tell us what's going on.
The first thing we have immediately, which is next week, is our Constitution Day celebration, which is going to be live for over 5 hours. We have a live reading of the Constitution starting at 11 Eastern. So everyone should join that to listen to a live reading of the Constitution. And Cathy and I are going to read it, as well as our Generation Z and student ambassadors, Tova, Love Kaplan, and Dakari Chapman. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then we encourage everyone to find a moment to join us, because we have so many different workshops where Cathy and I will be on these workshops, but also the students themselves. So to give you an example, we have the Constitution in Cinema workshop where kids can learn. We also have a Constitution in Craft workshop for elementary school students where they're going to read a book, and our poetry and artwork students are going to teach about how to write the poetry and artwork about the Constitution. And then we have a Constitution and Cinema workshop talking about how to write a short film or produce a short film or a commercial. Then we have Constitution and Science workshop where our STEM winners are going to talk about how to build an app or a website. After that, we have Constitution and Citizenship workshop, and that's a scholarship in my father's name that honors him and many. We've had, I think, 5 winners of just outstanding high school students, and they win almost a $5,000 scholarship, and they're going to talk about how to enroll and potentially win that. Then we have the Constitution and the First Amendment workshop, and that's where I'm going to work with the students about how to write a petition and how to actually call their representative. I'm going to digress here for just a moment because students don't really understand, and Tova was speaking to this, why the Constitution matters. Yeah, it's just something they do way up there. What we teach at Constituting America and what I love working with these students is because I say, no, look, I want you to feel empowered. I mean, the government, with the consent of you and me. And if you want to change something that you don't like, whether it's an amendment to the Constitution or just something in your neighborhood or the country, you can do it. And here is how. So it's really, really great to watch the wheels turn in these kids' minds. We also have this is back to Constitution Day workshop, the Constitution and Communication workshop. That's where middle school, high school, and college essay and speech winners will be doing their workshop. And the Constitution and how to have a civic conversation workshop, which is very important. And then lastly, the Constitution and Concert workshop, where we're going to have our song winners and teaching how to write lyrics and music. So that's initially what people can join, which is next Thursday, September 17th. Other than that, and I want to give Cathy a chance to talk, but to reiterate, we have our contest where kids can write their own short film, their own song, their own essays, STEM projects, you name it. We also have our George Washington Speaking Initiative. This is where I go into the schools via Skype or Zoom or Google Hangout or whatever it may be. And you go to constitutingamerica.org, find the George Washington Speaking Initiative, and there's a book of speech button. It's free. We don't charge a fee or anything to speak to the schools. Each student gets they get prizes, a constitution, and things of that nature. We also have our 90-day studies and our constitutional chat. So, Cathy, why don't you talk about that so I don't hog all the time? We have wonderful Constitution 90-day studies, which are for adults, but they're also for resource written by scholars. Cathy, do you want to talk about that?
Yes, definitely. I remember when we first started Constituting America back in 2010, Janine was doing a huge TV and media blitz, and we had so many parents who were very excited about our programs, but they were also saying, I want to teach my kids about the Constitution, but I don't know enough of it myself to teach it. And so we started our 90-day online studies, and they're called 90 and 90, History Holds the Key to the Future. And we have gone through many founding documents through the years and founding principles of our Constitution through the years. And we started in 2010 with the Federalist Papers. We had every day for 90 days, we had one essay on the Federalist paper from a constitutional scholar, because there are 85 Federalist Papers. We started with 5 days just on the Constitution in general. And then Janine and I also wrote 85 essays on the Federalist Papers every day for 90 days. And that was quite the undertaking. We were up sometimes till 1 or 2 in the morning finishing our essays for the next day, but it was a real learning experience for both of us. And then in the next year, we did a 90-day study on the Constitution. We've since done the amendments. We've done the classics that inspired the Constitution. We've done a history of presidential elections and constitutional issues within them, which walks through every single presidential election. We have done the Supreme Court, the executive branch. We've done the Congress. We have done the states. And most recently, we have done a 90-day study on important dates in American history. And these are all archived and searchable on our website. You just go to 90-day studies and go to the drop down, and you can either download them as PDFs, or you can go into them and read them in the soft form on our website and search them even more that way. And we also have an exciting initiative that we are taking these 90-day studies and compiling them into books, and they're going to offer them for sale on Amazon, and look for that before the end of the year. So that is our 90-day study program.
Yeah, it's on your website, which is constitutingamerica.org. And you really have some great resources on here. I'm looking at it right now. Cathy, you also have a book club. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, we are so excited about our Constituting America book club that Tova and our other student ambassador, Dakari Chapman, are co-chairing the book club. They're doing an amazing job. We have 2 selections going at any one time, one for elementary and one for adult. Our first book was Camilla Can Vote, which was by Senator Marsha Blackburn and her daughter, Mary Morgan Ketchel. And then for adults, we are currently reading Miracle in Philadelphia by Catherine Bowen. We finished Camilla Can Vote. So right now our elementary school students are on We Elect a President, which explains the Electoral College, and it's by Tara Ross. And after that, after our adult book, Miracle in Philadelphia, we're going to go on to Ron Chernow's Washington, A Life. And for each of these books, Tova and Dakari do social media posts on our Facebook. You have to just search Constituting America Book Club on Facebook or go to our Facebook page and you'll see links to it. Tova and Dakari ask questions and are very interactive. And then for every book, we have one live Zoom where we go on and discuss it and take questions from the audience and get them involved in it. And it's just a lot of fun.
And if I may step in there quickly, this is Janine, I just want to say one of the things that's been a delight for us, it's always Constitution Day where we meet the winning students and take them on a trip. I mean, we didn't even talk about the students. What we do with the contest, when they win, they get a trophy and a certificate, but they also win scholarship money, $1,000 for high school, $2,000 for college. And then we take them on a trip. So the mentors have been Gary Sinise from Forrest Gump, Lieutenant Dan, the singer Vince Gill, or John Rich from Big and Rich. Michael Flaherty was a mentor one year. He produced all the Chronicle of Narnia movies. But then the icing on the cake is that we promote the students' works. So we hire a company, I touched on this, but we hire a company out of Nashville to promote their winning songs, and we hire a company that's their PSAs on TV. So we promote their careers at the same time. I don't know of any other organization that does that. And some of their songs are played millions of times on the radio and as well as PSA. So it's a phenomenal opportunity for the students. But here's what's great. Some students are Democrats, some students are Republicans, some students are independent. A high percentage of them stay with us for years, and they are in our National Youth Advisory Board. And Tova is the president of the National Youth Advisory Board, and Dakar is one of our ambassadors. But they continue to work with us, and we call them and say, "Hey, will you come on and do this, or will you do that?" So it's wonderful that Cathy and I we spearhead this, and of course we're actively involved in every project and participate in it. But we also ask Generation Z to be a part of it, and Dakari and Tova is an example. And the Constitution Day, all the students are going to co-host these workshops with us, and then we bring in some of our millennial winners that actually do all the editing and help us with the media. And 2 of our winners from Utah this year, we started a new program where they're actually creating Snapchat ads and wonderful, creative, animated ads that it wasn't Madison Avenue professional. And we're putting them on Instagram and Snapchat. So it's really great to get to know these students. And everyone who's listening should feel hope for the future of our country, that really want to make a difference and are just willing and excited, and they're so talented. And it's just beautiful to be able to incorporate them into the foundation.
I can definitely confirm this, that Constituting America is unlike any organization I've ever encountered. They don't just hand you a check and say good luck. They are just so intimately invested in you as a person, and they'll do everything in their power to propel you in your career, in your life, and just go out there in the world and be the change that, America needs in order to bring us back to learning about the Constitution and exercising our rights.
Well, it sounds like you're learning a lot of things. I tuned in a couple weeks ago when you were doing one of your breaking down the Constitution sections, and I think you were on Article 2, but I might be wrong, but it was very impressive. You obviously have learned a lot about, the Constitution, as well as developing an app is no small feat. That's really amazing.
Well, and I'll just say that Tova Love Kaplan was just born amazing. Every time I listen to her speak, I have a smile on my face, and I feel incredibly lucky to have met Tova. I think Tova's just a powerhouse, just like Cathy, and she is just brilliant. And I think we're going to see great, great accomplishments from Tova, and she's going to make a difference in not only people's lives, but the country's life. And isn't she something? She's just amazing.
No, it's amazing. And, I'm looking through your Twitter feed, and the amount of people that you've had that collaborate with you on the education that you're giving through these programs is really impressive. I see that you've got the Library of Congress engaged. And again, I think that the resources that you guys have on your website is very helpful, especially when you've got things for teachers on here, and having resources like this are really vital. So major kudos to the whole team. So I want to thank you guys for being guests today on Explain to Shane. I will highly recommend that all of our listeners find out what you're about when Tova's app is out. We're all going to download it. And when we're standing in 6-foot distance lines, we can read more about the Constitution, because it's taking a little longer to do things these days. But I really appreciate all of your ladies' time to this wonderful effort. And I just want to say kudos and keep it up. Thank you for listening to another episode of Explain to Shane. For more episodes, subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your preferred listening platform. If you enjoyed this episode, leave us a review and tell your friends and colleagues to tune in. We'll see you on the next episode of Explain to Shane.